Thank you, Chairwoman Rapp, for supporting us here today. To close out today's event, I would like to introduce Kirk Hondrich and his daughter Chloe, whose life mission it is to advocate for those with Down syndrome. Their message has been very well received here in the halls of the Pennsylvania House and Senate, and their advocacy has resulted in Chloe's Law, which helps Pennsylvania parents and families by providing relevant information upon the prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome. Chloe has her own foundation, which provides resources, support, and assistance to children with Down syndrome and their families. Chloe and her dad also work to restore a culture of life for individuals with Down syndrome and advocate for the policies like the Down Syndrome Protection Act before us today. Their message is very short, it's simple, yet very powerful. Embrace, don't erase. Thank you. Chloe?
Thank you, Representative Klunk, and I want to thank all the policymakers that are here today, Speaker Turzai, Representative Rapp, Senator Martin, Representative Marshall, and all, Senator Kristen, everybody who's here today. I just thank you for being part of what I say is an historic movement. You know, if we were here in the Pennsylvania Capitol in the 1840s, we'd be up here speaking about the fact that there are human beings down the road being sold because of the color of their skin, and we'd be doing everything possible to stop that. If we were in Germany and it was 1940, we'd be up here speaking about the eugenic movement against a group of people because of their religious affiliation and the postnatal eugenic movement against them. My daughter Chloe was born in 2003, and during that pregnancy, we were told we were high risk to have a child with Down syndrome. Now, I was a police officer for 20 years, and I know the word risk doesn't connotate a very good visual. Chloe was born, we had no prenatal tests, but I did kind of question, why do you keep pressing these? And the responses I heard from many parents was, so you can make a decision. And I inquired, what is that decision that you say we can make? Well, the decision is whether you want to keep your child or not. And we knew we were having a daughter. Chloe was already named in the womb. My son was excited to have her. So basically, as a police officer in these medical places, they're telling parents that you have the option right now to commit a prenatal death sentence upon somebody who's completely innocent, who's committed no crime, who has done nothing wrong other than the fact they don't meet the cultural mandate for perfection. Well, when Chloe was born, we got a postnatal diagnosis of Down syndrome. And as Senator Martin talked about, we plugged into the services, early intervention, all the amazing things that these children are doing, and focused on her abilities. And when I was a police officer, I tell people during my 20-year career, I never recall having a call where a person with Down syndrome was committing an act of malice, committing an act of violence, was bullying somebody, was a suicide bomber, going on a school shooting. It's never happened. I have police officer friends across the country who will confirm that. As a matter of fact, these individuals, Chloe will get upset if you take her iPad when she's listening to Big Time Rush, but she will not formulate malice. She doesn't care if you're Republican or Democrat. She doesn't care if your hair is purple, if you got tattoos, she doesn't care. She'll love you because you're a human being. And isn't that the reason that God put us here, is to love each other and to break down these barriers? These children really are messengers to break down the toxicity that exists in our culture today, that has just put us behind so many walls and so many things. These individuals, after, like I said, they don't care. They don't care where you're from. If you live under the bridge, if you live in a mansion up the street, they will love you because you're human. I actually wrote an article once. You know, we celebrate World Down Syndrome Day tomorrow because of the extra chromosome these children have. And I wrote an article once that Adam and Eve did have Down syndrome until the devil stole the extra chromosome. And now the devil is utilizing the instrument of abortion to trick our society into believing that these individuals are not worthy to be here. Because the devil knows that once they arrive here, the light, the goodness that they're going to bring to our society when it needs it more now than ever, the devil knows that he has to intercept them prenatally to get this job done. So we're here today to speak up for the Down Syndrome Protection Act, which is the end of this genocide, which is the end of this silent eugenic movement. And as a matter of fact, what's interesting, this month in the state of Pennsylvania, and I want to salute Governor Wolf for that, he declared Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, and we support that unilaterally with him. As a matter of fact, I have some beautiful pictures over there when Chloe met with Governor Wolf, and I chaired the Early Intervention Advisory Committee and told him about embracing, not erasing kids with Down syndrome. And in that proclamation from our governor about this being Disability Awareness Month, that we're making sure that all people with disabilities are valued members of society, that we value what is important to people with disabilities and their families. We recognize the many accomplishments and contributions of people with developmental disabilities. Well, you've heard a few of them today, and they're numerous if you research it. So our governor in our state of Pennsylvania states that he encourages all citizens to support Pennsylvanians with developmental disabilities and their families in all aspects of Pennsylvania community life. And I read that and I thought, that's exactly what this law is going to do. The Down Syndrome Protection Act will do all those things that this Disability Awareness Month is doing. And we're here today and we're asking that in Pennsylvania that we will end the ultimate extreme form of prejudice, bigotry, exclusion, discrimination, profiling, and really you could sum it up as a hate crime. There's no greater hate crime than an individual being identified, targeted, and terminated because the culture says they don't belong here. So I want to once again thank everybody here for coming out to this, I call this a historic event. This is an event that you all look back on one day that you were part of, that's going to move history, that's going to be, it's going to start a tidal wave to end this eugenic movement. And as Senator Martin said, who's next? How about an autism test in a couple months? How about one for depression? How about one for ADHD? How about OCD? My wife knows I'd be gone then. How about one for whatever? So let's put an end to this. Let's restore a culture of life here in Pennsylvania where everybody is welcome, where everybody's included, and where we embrace and don't erase individuals with Down syndrome. Thank you. God bless you. And thank you for coming out today.